Still awake? Still with us?
Yeah!
Hopefully, because most of the times after lunch myself I'm like, but this is an interesting topic, and I think that's why they settle it after lunch, so we will be awake and interesting about the security. Everyone is interested. So we have here Marcos and Dragos, and I invite them to tell us a bit more about their experience and about their place of work and why they're here doing special things and things.
Yeah, so my name is Marcos Placona. I think some of you will have, I see some familiar faces, so some of you may have seen my talk before. I'm a developer evangelist for Twilio, which is a communications API. Feel free to come and talk to me about it later. I had a very interesting question about security during my talk, which was very convenient because it's almost like a segue to this. So what I'm really hoping to do here is talk to all of you about security, share some of my experiences with security, and maybe get some of you to share your experiences. Just one thing I want to say is if you, right at the back, just make sure that when you're asking questions, you just ask them out loud, because the sound is...
I think I'm going to go and try to give them advice.
Yeah, even,
on recording
even with mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You already know what to do.
Yeah.
So, hello everyone. Is it okay? Can you hear me at the back? Yeah, it's fine. So, my name is Dragos Stoica, and we'll meet again at 24 today. I'm a teaching assistant at Technical University in Bucharest. Thank you very much for the organizers, because I wanted to be here, not in Bucharest. I love Cluj, so that's a great opportunity for me to meet old friends and to see Cluj again. I started with mobile devices quite a while ago. It was with the Symbian and the PDAs. At the time it was Palm OS. Most of security problems were solved, what we built at that time, but new ones arrived. Also, what I do at university with my students, it's trying, and sometimes you succeed, sometimes not, to keep up with the industry. So encryption algorithms and real problems. If you have, let's say, this topic, it's open. I'm not a reference in the industry. I'm interested in this subject, in this topic, and I also want to know your opinion about and to share with you some of my experience. And yes, please do speak up loud, just to hear questions. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm Ioana Chiorean. I'm a Mozilla representative located here in Cluj. And in my daily job outside of Mozilla contributions, I have experience with mobile applications, so that's why I'm coming to go with the panel here. The first question is pretty easy. I consider it easy. And I wanted to emphasize the fact that we have here a person from the academic domain and wanted to learn more how we see and the teaching side of mobile security in university and schools faced to the requirements that our domain IT field requires in the end when we build the application, have clients in this or want to protect users.
Yes, that is all. Okay, first thing first. This lecture that I'm giving at Technical University in Bucharest started in 2010, I think. If I'm wrong, sorry, Dragos, about it. He was the first one to start a lecture on mobile devices at Technical University. And I don't know if it was the first in Romania, but in Bucharest he was the first. Then he had to stop it for various reasons. And then I took over in 2012. So I have a couple of years of experience with my students. One good news is that students are willing to learn. Of course, the next news is not so good, is that there is a big gap. So if you are recruiting students or for their internship, or you want to get them your projects, they are not ready. And this is not because they don't have programming skills or programming level. They don't have this understanding of the problem. Security for them, it may be something that stops with their Facebook password or Google account password, things like that. So what I do from this practical point of view, in 2012 we had a project called Chiorean, an application for mobile device. It was a native choice. First implementation was in Android and then iOS. The main point was to see how they can encrypt information, just store there and value, something like my username and the password for Google, whatever, in a text file and encrypt that file. Or send that file via network and so on. The second example of what they learned was to build their own encryption algorithm. So I found that a technical university in Germany, a base code, and we worked on the math. Today, from my point of view as a teacher, I think they are not ready for the industry. They are willing to learn, but there's still a gap to fill in. So be patient, be confident, and they'll catch up pretty quick.
So as someone who's not finished university a very long time, well, about 10 years ago, but not too long ago, my experience with security at university was very much like you need to have a login password and you need to make sure you don't give your passwords away to anyone, and when you store it, don't store it as plain text. And I'm looking at some people here and I'm seeing some heads nodding like, yeah, that's exactly what I had at university. That's my experience back in England. I don't know how security is actually taught here. I'm sure you can you can tell. But basically, security wasn't one of the most important things back then. Now, I go to a lot of student hackathons in this job, which means I meet lots of people just fresh from university. And when I say things like two-factor authentication, for example, some people go like, what? When I say, do you know when Google sends you a text message with that code and you need to enter that? They go, oh yes, so that's two-factor authentication. So that's just one example of the kind of security I was taught at university. And obviously back then there was no two-factor authentication, but you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I think that even now with the new applications, by teaching and imposing it to some user, at least we teach you stuff and they will like try to know why is Google asking for my number and why is texting me.
Yeah.
So there is one of the forms we can learn more detail.
Yeah.
The second question is about the advertised domain, because as we know, most of the applications, especially the free ones, have a revenue based on the advertising done. And I was wondering if you have a way to ensure the security and integrity of the ads your application uses.
Yeah, okay, thank you. We had a chat on this subject last night, and it was quite exciting. So I want to share with you one of our experience. It was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. We started a project based on, let's say, user-driven advertising. We started from this specification, if you want to call it technical business specification. I'm in charge, and I'm here right now, willing to receive information, adverts about what I'm interested in. So basically, I'm driving the flow of information that will be directed towards me here and now. One interesting aspect is that nobody will trace back my information. They don't know who am I, no username, no password, commonly accepted by society. And the fourth thing, and this is very important, is that I can choose when to stop the flow of information. And this is something that may be achieved with IoT, with beacons, with advertising with beacons, and so on. Of course, it will be closely related to my mobile application or to a smartwatch or whatever wearable I have. So this is what I'm proposing as an alternative. Right now, I'm aware that we are bombarded by adverts, and the worst part is that our profile is stored somewhere, like watched by somebody. And usually it's Google with Google Ads or Apple. So those are the main two companies that are exploiting our behavior on internet.
So my question to the answer, which was, can you make sure the adverts are actually secure? My answer to it would be no. Unless you're doing your own adverts. So unless you're not using a service or a machine to decide what the adverts are going to be, there's no way you can actually secure. And I'm not talking about security as in someone's going to steal my password. I'm talking about security whereby, say you have an application and you show an advert that is really inappropriate for that kind of user. Because this is also security, okay? I'm sure some of you here will have kids, for example, and you will let your kids play with mobile applications or use tablets. Kids use tablets quite a lot these days. And if you're using generated adverts, there's no way you can make sure the content is actually secure. Obviously, most of that content will be contextualized. So you should usually, if you're using something to generate those adverts, usually you should see that the adverts are related to a game kids playing or something. It's like, you know, when you go into Cartoon Network, for example, and all you see is toys during, you know, the adverts are about toys all the time. So they're actually in context, but there's no way you can actually make sure that those adverts are not going to be offensive to someone, for example. Because I might be a parent who doesn't want my kids to play with Nerf guns, for example. And obviously if I have an advert about Nerf guns, this could be very offensive to me and therefore not very secure. It's not secure to my household, for example. So unless you can actually do the advertisement, unless you can do the targeting yourself, unless you're doing your own advertisement, it's really not secure.
That's sad, yeah, but not eventually, yeah. Maybe we can investigate it more after the next year with our solution for
I would love to see that, yeah.
As we discussed last night about the generated adverts based on location, more relevant at least, and
Yeah.
in a way we kind of constrain the large amount of advertising we already have. My third question is related to the platform side. Like on mobiles, we have so many OEMs or manufacturers different face to other like platform like desktop. And I was wondering if you ever had to make a compromise between the performance of the application because of this, and you choose the security side or the performance side, and how you see it going forward.
Thank you. There are two main solutions that I see. Of course, it's subjective. And the first one that is, of course, a lot more faster than software is the hardware. So where you have the fingerprint on iPhone 6, which is integrated, we had that piece of hardware on Motorola devices a couple of years ago. We have some face recognition features on Samsung, if I'm not wrong. And you see, we have bits and pieces of security or authentication based on hardware. Of course, they are fast, they are built-in, they are much reliable because it's not easy to hack the hardware. You can always do that, but it's much complicated. And of course, there is this unique aspect, because it's not a hardware that you can unplug from iPhone and put it in some other phone. So maybe in the future we will have this type of hardware that will be able to be plugged via USB port or something else to allow us with maybe a third token to get authenticated in software, and that was proven by some governmental agency in the United States. You can always break whatever algorithm the producer implements, because at the end of the day we are programming in binary, and this is clear binary. Binary is not encoded in memory. You don't encrypt data in memory, and what goes into the processor, it's clear binary. So everybody that understands and interprets correctly the binary can decrypt data. So from this point of view, software, no matter how complicated or smartly we build it, it will lack this let's say protection. We hope as scientists that quantum computing will help us with this, but it's a long way away. Yeah. So that's how I see. Of course, what you need as protection is to be good enough. So this is practical aspect. You don't need something that is unbreakable, but something that is good enough so that people will not be able to exploit your personal information in a reasonable amount of time. And this is to be defined, and it's according to each application. So, and this is my opinion on the subject.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. Although I would say that security should always come first. So if you're looking at performance versus security, I think there's a common ground you can find where your application will be maybe not as performant as it could have been without security, but that wouldn't be something the user will actually notice. Like if a security is adding just a few milliseconds to your application for it to load, that's probably an okay thing to have, because ultimately no one's going to sue you because your application doesn't perform well, but you will get sued if your application is not secure. And you will get sued if you have some data leak, for example. And like when it comes to security, like the way I like to see it is there's only so much as a sense of security. You can't be sure that your application is 100% secure and no one's going to break into it. Because if someone wants to break into it, they will. I've used a lot of hardware encryption in the past, where we were doing the whole encryption using hardware as opposed to software, which made it a lot faster and a lot more performant. But while researching hardware, while looking at hardware, I found a lot of reports of breaches on those. Like, I was never able to find a hardware, like an encryption hardware, that was 100% secure. You will always find breaches. Like, someone will always find a way to break into your application. And I know this sounds very obvious, but if someone wants to do it, they'll do it. But all you can do on your site is, well, not store all your passwords in plain text, for example. You can make it hard. You can try and make sure that even if you have a breach, the person actually breaking into your system, they won't get access to absolutely everything. And there's ways you can do that. But there's only a sense of security, and you will only feel happy about your security when you have this sense of, yeah, everything's okay. Like if someone wants to break in, at least they will get all the data, for example. And there's software available today that will do things like, well, if someone is like doing SQL injection into my application, even though they will be able to get some data out of it, obviously, you shouldn't fall into this category. But even though they will be able to get some data out of it, you get notifications for, well, someone is actually downloading 10 different user profiles from the database. Are you okay with that? And that's like, at least it gives you a sense of, well, if I were to have a breach, no one's going to come and get everything from my database. They'll just get a subset of it.
Thank you, guys. And as we want to make it as an open panel, I was wondering if any of you have any questions for me. Don't be shy. I bet there are nice guys who replies and answers. Any question? Yes, I'm coming.
Do you think that the Tor project is reliable and you ever use it?
Would I ever use it with anything serious? Probably not. Because again, the Tor project is, most of it is an open source project. A lot of people know how the Tor project actually works. And it's, I feel like it's a reliable thing, but I wouldn't use it for my bank account transactions, for example. But I feel like, you know, and I could probably say the same about the blockchain and Bitcoins. Are they super reliable? Are you going to lose your Bitcoins at some point? Maybe. As, you know, happened to quite a few people. Do you know?
Another question. Oh, yes.
Okay, so you've talked very nicely about the need to protect yourselves because if you lose data, then people are going to be angry and going to sue you. Is there something to be said about maybe setting things up so that the user is protected from you? Maybe you're going to leave the company at some point and someone else is going to take over. Are there maybe procedures that people can put in place maybe to protect users from the developers?
That's a very good question. So I was part of a project before where we used a lot of hardware encryption, and the thing is, someone will need to know the password to this. Someone somewhere in the company will need to know the password. So, in my opinion, what you would want to do is you would want to make sure that the least amount of people know the keys, for example, for your encryption. And whenever you're decrypting something, you need at least 2 people to enter their passwords. So each one of them will have a password and you need at least 2 people to do that. Because obviously if you fire both those people, then you might be in trouble. Obviously you're going to try and, you're going to try and make sure the passwords are reset and everything. But if those 2 people get together and decide to do something, you may be in trouble. But obviously, they would fall into the category where you can now, as a company, you can now sue those people, and that's not gonna alleviate the issue with the users because you may end up losing users for this. But still, it's one measure.
It's a legitimate question because it's as old as Unix. So if you have the root account password, and this is only one password, so what will happen then? And this is available also on KX, so maintenance for banking, and here we are talking about money, and this is also available for internet, so internet is hosted on Unix. And this is a big issue that was not correctly addressed since the beginning. Of course, in 70s or 69, hardware was expensive and there was just a couple of experts in the whole world. So if you fire one, you have the other one. It was a small world. Today, things are really difficult to manage at that level. What we can change is the paradigm. I think last time when they changed something on the way Unix and Linux deals with the user accounts was a long time ago. We don't have even 2-factor authentication for special accounts, and that's a shame. We we have it in other applications, but not for systems. And also, you start with plain text. Always you start with plain text. Most of the protocols are using still plain text to do the transaction. We don't use binary. This is also a bit. I think with IoT we will be obliged to secure and scramble the data more, because data will be open in the sense that everyone will be able to access that data. In a couple of years, I don't know, 2, 3, 5 years, maybe we will see a lot of changes in this field. It doesn't apply only to employees or companies and to be generalized. But yes, for the time being, it's a big issue.
Any other question?
Can I just share a funny story very related to your question and related to security. Some time ago, I used to work for a company where we did, like I mentioned before, we did a lot of hardware encryption and everything, and we really made sure the least amount of people actually had access to the keys on this hardware, and we tried to make sure it was very secure. This company was trying to get PCI compliance, which basically means if anything were to happen, like if you had a data breach, for example, if you're PCI compliant, you wouldn't get shut down because of this, because you basically proved that you've done as much as you could to secure your application. So what happened was we had all this in place, we had hardware encryption and everything in place, and then we brought the auditors to come over and just audit us, like go through our system and everything. And we failed on the first question. The reason we failed was we had a back office, which was the only way for you to get credit card information. You need a password to get to it, and this back office would basically use the hardware encryption API to grab the credit cards back. The auditor came over and he asked one of the developers, "Hey, do you have access to the back office?" He went, "Yeah." And then the auditor came in and asked the second developer, "Do you have access to the back office?" And she went, "I do." So as it turned out, all of the 22 developers had access to this back office, and all of them could just go and grab as many credit cards as they wanted. So sometimes the problem lies inside, and you just can't see it because you're focusing on all these other things to make sure it's so secure that you really aren't that secure.
You forgot about the consent.
Exactly.
Going further, questions? Don't be shy. If there's none, till the guys decide. My last question prepared was about how you will deal with the user data breach, and if you think to have something in place like an incident report, or we had some of them already out there in public, and I would like to know your opinion about it.
So I'll start, just to give you an idea. It's not always about the data. Maybe you are aware that personal data, personal information concerning the Greek citizens is public on the internet, so the whole database with the social security number, everything, just citizen IDs are public. The database was distributed public. And from this point of view, it's a huge security breach. The whole country was exposed. Now, the real question is, okay, we all know that. So what we can do with that data? In this moment, we are doing nothing. Actually, we are here at DevTalks. Yeah. This is a good thing. Yeah, we are not using their IDs, but the same thing happens with sensitive data. That means your credit card number, your bank account, social security number, even with your location or with the photo that you took from your favorite dish or pet. The main point is that who exploits the data has the power, not the data itself. And if you try to protect something, you have to be aware of what can be done with that data, how they can exploit that information. even talking to the phone may be a security breach because you're talking about your preferences. Maybe somebody that is aware of it can guess what your password is and get into the system, and this is a security breach. So just to make it clear, it's about exploiting the data. It always be the way in which data is used or misused. Data itself is somehow public. Well, it means that somebody can get into the system, your bank account is known by the people in production, possibly the sysadmin on each system has access to the entire database. So you are exposed from this point of view. But you trust them in banks, the government, and so on. So just to be clear, do not misinterpret the fact that somebody got an information about you. It's a big issue. Then, when they start to use the data, your system should be aware to somehow detect if it's the real user or it's trying, or is somebody trying to misuse your account or your credentials. For example, you have CAPTCHA. Yeah. CAPTCHA is just a basic authentication check mark, yeah, to be sure that you are a human somehow. Yeah. Anyhow, if you are smart enough, you can write a software that will allow you to pass CAPTCHA. There are the two-factor authentication. Right now, you can also check that if you have a complex system, and you can register with a fake SIM card, yeah, a prepaid one, and then to get the data, and so on. So if you are clever enough, you can always overpass the system. The IT to always be vulnerable. Just know who is using your data. That's difficult to know in advance, because if people want to harm you, it means that they are intelligent enough to think that you have a protection mechanism. They don't know which one is, but yeah. And the last point is that we should decide. We are not yet there, but this should be our responsibility to decide how to share personal data. I think we as individuals should be considered as microservice providers. So it's our personal data, and we decide to share it with the government or with the police or with the bank or I don't know, whoever we decide to share with, not to store it in a database. It will be difficult to implement this type of system, but I think this will be fair enough, because it will be our responsibility, not bank's responsibility or government. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just the one thing about incident reports. I think incident reports, they keep you honest, and that's a good thing. Because unless you put them in place, unless you actually tell people something wrong happens with you, and there's many ways you can actually tell people this, as you know, when Sony was hacked, for example, they didn't quite tell us the whole story. They didn't quite tell us like that they actually lost our credit card numbers and everything. So there's ways you can tell people, but I think incident reports actually keep you honest. I believe, if not, like everyone in this room, if it hasn't happened yet, at some point you will have data breach. And I'm not trying to jinx anyone here, but I feel like at some point there is going to be a data breach, and you're going to suffer from this. And having incident reports in place, make sure that you're honest about it, and you're going to do your best to fix those issues.
Thank you so much. I think we are running out of time, so if you do have a question, please go to the guys in the break and ask them. Don't be shy. I know they are nice and they will reply and try to get a solution for you. Thank you so much for being in the panel, and I hope to see you in the mobile separator today.